All right, so we're gonna get this closet cleaned out because my network rack arrives tomorrow, and I want to go ahead and get the area prepared to install it. And while we're at it, we're gonna go ahead and move the server racks, or the servers and server rack, out of this closet and into the master bedroom closet. Yeah, so let's just go ahead and get started and get this stuff sort of cleaned up, and then we'll talk about everything as we do the work. All right, so I guess most of the stuff I'm actually just gonna stick up here because I don't know, I don't really see the point of taking everything out of the room, and we'll need some of the stuff, but things like, you know, this box has been sitting here forever, things like the monoprice cable, that can go. We got a lot of little knickknacks in here too, and we also need to power up the servers because we're actually going to be moving this out of here. Now, in case you missed the previous videos about like why I'm moving the servers into the master bedroom closet, we'll kind of cover that briefly here. So the reason why we're doing that is because in this closet it gets really hot. You know, I've seen really high temperatures in here, and these servers, while they're probably safe when it's like 80 degrees, 82, 83 degrees Fahrenheit, it's not too safe in here, or will not be safe in here when it becomes summertime and the temperatures rise. So basically, we're going to temporarily move these into the master bedroom closet and then save up money. And so maybe about like, I don't know, October of next year, or not next year, October of this year, when I've saved up enough money, we'll think about putting like some kind of HVAC, either exhaust system or cooling system in here. And I'm not really sure how that's going to work. I've done some research online, but there's a lot of mixed ideas about the best way to go about that. So I think I'll call an expert first and see what they have to say, and, you know, get his opinion on, you know, what's probably best to do. So that is basically the game plan and why we need to, or why I want to move this stuff out of here temporarily. Now, what you may be wondering now is, okay, well, if you're moving all this stuff in the master bedroom closet, how are you going to get networking and power in there? Glad you asked. We'll get to that in a minute once we get this thing moved. Okay, so we're in the master bedroom closet now, and basically the server rack's going to live here for a little while anyway. And on this side of the wall, I'm not quite sure exactly where, is the corner where I want the pass-through or the wall outlet to come through. But the problem is that if I go to the corner, it'll probably end up somewhere like here in the middle of the wall. And we don't really want that. I think in the master bedroom closet, I'd prefer to have it in the corner, or maybe just like slightly away from the corner. It kind of depends on where the studs are. But I'd also like it to look pretty on the other side of the wall. And that's kind of hard to do when you don't really have a good idea of where everything is. So what we're going to try and do first is locate where the panel is for all the network cables. It's not really called a panel, I can't remember the name of it, but whatever that network box thing is that lives inside the wall, we need to locate that, and that'll give us a pretty good idea of where we are on this side of the room. So you may remember the box or the panel is about chest height, so we'll try and go up above it somewhere. Actually, let's go to the left of it somewhere. So there shouldn't be a stud anywhere here, I don't think. And we're just going to kind of go until we find the first stud. Okay, there's one. So that means the panel is probably right about here. And it's still triggering, so I'd be willing to bet my panel is directly behind this. And let's find the other stud. All right, so that's probably where another stud is. So about there and there. So if my panel's here and we want it to be in the center, we basically just have to eyeball. We don't have to eyeball it, but I'm going to eyeball it. The center of the panel is probably here, so we'll put the outlet somewhere down towards the bottom. And it'll be centered on that side of the room. It'll be in the corner, and it won't look so ugly on this side of the room. So let's get to cutting. Well, it turns out the camera was actually too high, so you couldn't see what I was doing. So I'm just going to kind of reiterate what I did. So I know that my outlet is the center part here is 2 1/4 inches wide and 4 inches tall. So I just used a ruler that I found from my wife's art stuff, and then just measured that out on the wall like so. And then once I got the about middle point between these two studs, which I eyeballed, I just made the hole. And peering in there, I can't see either stud, so I'm assuming I did a good job of centering that. And where is my right angle thingy? So, and then I use this thingy to kind of help give myself a more visual idea of how straight it is. And to me, that looks like it's pretty straight. It's kind of hard to tell when you're looking at things from angles, but I think that's pretty straight. And then, of course, when we slide in our little flappy thingy, it fits. Oh, I have it upside down. Wait a minute. How's this go? There we go. And when we slide this in, it fits perfectly, and that should tighten up really well. So now what we need to do is figure out how we're going to get an even cut on the other side of the drywall. And what I think I'm going to do for this, I'm just going to line this up and just poke a hole straight through the other side. I don't think you're supposed to do it like this, but we're doing it anyway. At least start the cut, and that should give me a pretty good idea. And we're going to do the same for a corner. Okay. And then another corner. All right, now we're going to flip around the other side and actually go cut that out. So let's do that. So I think we just learned a valuable lesson of why you don't do what I just did and why you should always listen to a professional. So we've actually poked out some of the paint, so it's kind of just like popped out. That should be okay because I think the faceplate will cover most of this. But nonetheless, it's kind of messed up now. And what's interesting about this cut too, it actually seems even more crooked than my first cut. So that's what it looks like. I'd say that's pretty close to being even. It's kind of hard to tell, but I'm happy. If you're happy, I'm happy. And if I'm happy, you should be happy. All right, so is that centered with the panel thing in there? Yeah, I'd say that's pretty centered. It's pretty centered when you just eyeball it like I did. It's probably not my best work ever, but it's pretty good. Okay, it's a little bit to the left, it looks like. I don't know. But again, not a professional. I think you did a pretty good job. And again, we're going to patch this up in the future anyway, so it's not a big deal. Okay, so let's go ahead and get one of these installed. And okay, it doesn't slide right in perfectly because it looks like my cut's kind of misaligned here, so we're going to try and fix this a little bit. That should be good. Okay, so let's go ahead and try and get this in here. It should just slide right on in. A little tight, but that works. And now if I believe, all I need to do is tighten this on the bottom and top, and that should tighten itself to the drywall. And I can feel some pretty good resistance there, so I think it's safe to believe that it is attached to the drywall pretty good. Yep, I can hear it crunching. All right, so that's the first one, and we're gonna do the same thing on the other side, but I'm actually not gonna show the other side because it's kind of pointless to show this twice. But it's that easy, and then we'll just pass through our power and the Ethernet cables we need, and we're pretty much done with this. That was really simple, jeez. All right, so we've passed through our first cable here. So this is for the UPS, the Eaton UPS on the other side. And we just basically need to plug it in there and we are golden. So we're not gonna hear the UPS click on or anything like that, but yeah, we could probably pull the cable through to tighten it a little bit more so it's not just, hanging out here to make it a little bit cleaner. And I don't know, then we gotta figure out where all these network cables are gonna go because we made a mess. And then we'll pretty much be done. And when the network rack arrives tomorrow, I think we're gonna end up putting it on this side, and we gotta take all this stuff down and sort of start the process over again, sort of. But that's pretty much it for now. All right, pretty much the final thing to do is just get this thing pushed into the corner as best as possible so it's out of the way and take up the least amount of space. And then of course we'll have to clean up the mess we made. We're not gonna do that right now. All right, so I'd say that actually looks pretty decent just sitting there in the corner. So I think we're gonna call it quits for here. And the next time we have a video, we'll be installing the network rack, hopefully. So we're pretty much done. And maybe I'll gather some metrics like, what the temperature is of the servers in the new, or not in the new room, but in the master closet and things of that nature. And oh, actually, before we end, we should at least look what it looks like when it's all said and done, even though it's in its temporary state. So that way we get a good idea of what the before and after is, or so it may be. So I'm going to plug everything in, and then we'll do that, and then we'll end the video. All right, this is basically what it looks like for now. It's way more quiet in here now that the servers are in the other room. And yeah, it's pretty messy, but I think we'll end up cleaning this up once we're done. And I gotta say, that doesn't look too bad back down there. I went with black because that was my only choice at the time. And, I don't hate it. So we obviously have a lot of work to do in here. We're going to have to remove all of this for our network rack to go up here. And yeah, that's all that. All right, guys. Well, I hope you enjoyed this video. Stay tuned because we will be doing kind of like a conclusion to this whole thing on the very next one with our network rack. But anyway, as always, I want to thank you all for watching, and I better see you next time.